The man's laugh rolled low and warm, cutting through the downpour like a crackle of distant thunder. Matteo! And yours? He paused at the driver's side door, rain sluicing off his yellow Amazon vest, clinging to the broad lines of his shoulders beneath a black t-shirt soaked through. Andrew swallowed, suddenly aware of his own bare feet on the cold stoop, the towel feeling flimsier than it had 2 minutes ago. Andrew. Just Andrew. Matteo nodded, that smile lingering like he knew exactly what kind of storm was brewing inside, not the one outside. Well, Andrew, just Andrew, if you need anything else delivered. You know where to find me. He slid into the van, the engine humming to life, and pulled away into the grey curtain of Portland fall, leaving Andrew standing there, box under one arm, heart pounding like he'd just run a marathon in the rain. Inside, Andrew set the package on the kitchen counter, unopened, because who cared about some random book he'd ordered in a late-night haze of insomnia? The apartment smelled like fresh coffee grounds and damp earth from the open window, the kind of scent that wrapped around you in this city, making every day feel like the edge of something unfinished. He was 30 now, a graphic designer freelancing from a corner desk piled with sketches and empty takeout containers, the kind of life that looked stable on paper but felt like drifting on water. Portland suited him that way, misty bridges over the Willamette, food carts slinging tacos at midnight, people who wore their quirks like badges. But lately, the quirks felt like masks. He'd come out in college, back in Eugene at the University of Oregon, amid keg parties and rainy protests, but love? That had been a go since his last boyfriend, Riley, bailed 2 years back for a fresh start in San Francisco that apparently didn't include Andrew's quiet need for roots. He peeled off the towel, pulled on jeans and that flannel, the one with the frayed cuffs that made him feel like a character in one of those indie films they screened at the Hollywood Theater. The mirror in the bathroom showed a guy with blue eyes too sharp for comfort, stubble shadowing a jaw that clenched when he thought too hard. Work-weighted emails from clients wanting logos that screamed artisanal authenticity, but he couldn't focus. That brush of fingers, that laugh, it looped in his head like a track stuck on repeat. Stupid, he told himself, pouring coffee black and hot into a chipped mug. Delivery guys were off limits, a blip in the routine. But routine was what had him staring at ceilings at 3 a.m., wondering if this was all there was: screens, solitude, the occasional grindery swipe that led nowhere good. By afternoon, the rain eased to a drizzle, and Andrew laced up his boots for a walk to the Pearl District, needing the buzz of the city to shake him loose. Powell's city of books loomed like a labyrinth of salvation, stacks towering under skylights that filtered the weak sun. He wandered the fiction aisles, fingers trailing spines, Carver, Eggers, the raw pulse of American lives laid bare. A new release caught him, a memoir about queer love in the Midwest, the kind that promised heartbreak and redemption in equal measure. He bought it, along with a stack of postcards, because why not send one to his sister in Boise, pretending everything was fine? Back home, the package mocked him from the counter. He sliced it open, or the book, yeah, but tucked inside was a note scrawled on Amazon receipt paper. Forgot to mention, package insured for smiles only. Andrew's breath hitched. How? The guy must have slipped it in at the door. He'd flashed his neck, a mix of intrigue and that old wariness. He texted his best friend, Lena, who'd moved to the suburbs but still called him out on his bullshit. Weird delivery today. Guy left a note. Am I reading too much? Her reply buzzed quick, if he's cute, you're not reading enough. Spill. Lena knew the drill. She'd been there through Riley, the ghosting, the way Andrew built walls higher than the Hawthorne Bridge. They met for drinks that evening at a dive bar in Alberta Arts District, neon signs flickering over sticky tables, craft IPAs flowing like confessions. She was all sharp bob haircut and accountant practicality, but her eye softened when she leaned in. Tell me about him. Andrew shrugged, sipping his beer, the foam bitter on his tongue. Latino, I think. Early 30s. Built like he lifts pallets for fun. I's that? I don't know, see right through the rain. She grinned, clinking her glass. Sounds like fate in a vest. Don't overthink, Drew. Just see what happens. What happened was Andrew couldn't sleep. He lay on his futon, city hum filtering through the blinds, replaying the moment. Mateo's van pulling up at 9:17 a.m., precise as a memory. The way head signed the electronic pad with a flourish, initials Mr. Looping elegant. Andrew rolled over, phone glowing in the dark. He opened the Amazon app, scrolled order history, half hoping, half dreading. Nothing. But at 2 a.m., Impulse 1, he ordered a pack of gum, next day delivery, address confirmed. Petty? Maybe. But in Portland, where baristas remembered your order and strangers shared umbrellas, small risks felt like lifelines. Morning came grey again, coffee brewing as Andrew paced. The buzzer sounded at 10:45. He smoothed his hair, heart slamming, and hit the intercom. Yeah? Static crackled, then that voice, smooth as Willamette fog. Special delivery. Gum for the guy who smiles like it's optional. Andrew buzzed him up, door ajar, leaning against the frame in his flannel and jeans, casual as he could fake. Mateo appeared, gum in hand, vest unzipped to show the t-shirt clinging from the humidity. Up close, he was taller, scent of rain and faint cologne cedar, maybe mixing with the van's leather seats. Your trouble, Mateo said, handing it over, eyes crinkling. Most people don't order filler just to chat. Andrew's laugh escaped, genuine, rusty. Caught me. Blame the weather. Makes a guy philosophical about mint. They stood there, door open to the hallway, the building's ancient radiator clanking like a heartbeat. Mateo glanced past him, at the sketches pinned to the wall wildlife posters for a local brewery. Andrew's line work clean and evocative. Artist. Designer. Pays the bills without selling my soul. You? Mateo shrugged, easy. Driver by day, dreamer by night. Grew up in East LA, chased jobs up here for the trees. Portland gets you, doesn't it? All that green hiding the grit. It did. They talked for 20 minutes, rain picking up outside, topic sliding from traffic on Burnside to the best faux spots in the city. Mateo had a scar on his knuckle from a warehouse shift back home, shared it with a shrug that said he'd earned every mark. Andrew mentioned his dad's old fishing cabin in the Cascades, the way fly fishing untangled his thoughts. No rush, no agenda, just two guys in a doorway, the world pausing polite. When Mateo finally stepped back, gum delivered, he pulled a pen from his pocket. Numbers optional, but... He scribbled on Andrew's palm, 503XXXXXXX. For when you need more than mint. Andrew watched the van disappear down the street, palm tingling, the ink smudging faint like a promise. He closed the door, leaned against it, breath steadying. Trouble, yeah. But the good kind, the kind that made 30 feel like a beginning. He texted Lena, happened again. Number acquired. Her emoji storm replied, fire, heart, thumbs up. That night, he texted Mateo first, gum's great. Weather's not. Coffee tomorrow? The reply came swift, 11 a.m., Coava on SE Belmont. Black, 2 sugars. The cafe buzzed with laptop warriors and dog walkers, air thick with roasted beans and chatter. Andrew arrived early, staking a corner table by the window, fogged from the steam. He sketched idly a quick line of Mateo's profile from memory, jaw strong, lashes casting shadows. When the door chimed, there he was, vest swapped for a Henley that hugged his chest, jeans faded just right. You're early, Mateo said, sliding in opposite, ordering his own pour-over. Habit. Like showing up for deliveries. Their knees brushed under the table, accidental but not, and Andrew felt that jolt again, warmer now. Conversation flowed like the coffee, dark and bold. Mateo talked about his abuela in LA, her tamales that could fix any heartbreak, the way she'd pray for him over the phone, sensing his wanderlust. She's the root, he said, stirring his cup. Keeps me from floating away. Andrew nodded, sharing about his mom, a nurse in Salem, who'd hug him fierce after every visit, whispering be brave, mi hijo, even though she was straight as the eye of 5. They laughed about Portland's weirdness, the naked bike rides, the food cart pods that felt like block parties. Hours slipped, the cafe emptying around them, until Matteo checked his watch. Shift starts soon. But this was better than pallets. Andrew walked him out, drizzle misting their shoulders. At the curb, Matteo turned, close enough to count the flecks in his eyes. Text me later. No gum required. Then he was gone, van merging into traffic, and Andrew stood there, chest full, the city alive around him. Back in the apartment, he opened that memoir, words blurring as his mind replayed the morning. For the first time in years, the rain sounded like applause. Weeks blurred into a rhythm that felt dangerously like home, the kind Portland built so effortlessly with its craft breweries and hidden trails. Andrew and Matteo texted through shifts, Matteo's hauls across the bridges, Andrew's deadlines blurring into nights of red wine and vinyl spins on his old turntable. Their first real date was a hike up Forest Park, boots crunching leaves under a canopy that filtered the October like gold. Andrew packed sandwiches from Providencia, the kind with house-cured salami and fig jam that stuck to your fingers, and they ate on a log overlooking the city, skyline smudged by haze. "You draw this?" Matteo asked, nodding at Andrew's sketchpad, where Head captured the view in quick strokes, trees twisting like veins. "Yeah. Helps me see the bones of things." Andrew closed it, cheeks warming under Matteo's gaze. They talked easy, about dreams half-formed, Matteo's whisper of opening a food truck fusing LA street eats with Pacific Northwest foraged greens, Andrew's itch to illustrate a children's book about queer kids finding their way in small towns. Vulnerability crept in slow, like the fog rolling up from the river. "Last guy I dated," Andrew said, tossing a pebble into the underbrush, "he said I was too rooted. Like that was a flaw." Matteo leaned back, arms draped over knees, his dark hair curling damp at the temples. "Roots aren't flaws. They're what keep the storm from uprooting you." That night, back in Andrew's apartment, the air hummed with possibility. They cooked pasta Alfredo from a recipe Matteo swore by, garlic sizzling in the pan, wine loosening tongues. Laughter echoed off the brick walls, stories spilling, Matteo's teenage rebellion, sneaking out to Echo Park Lake with friends, dreaming of escape, Andrew's college fumblings, first kiss stolen behind a dorm vending machine, tasting like cheap beer and freedom. When the dishes were stacked, they sank onto the couch, a playlist of Bon Iver and Hosier weaving soft. Matteo's hand found Andrew's on the cushion between them, thumb tracing knuckles, and the room shrank to breath sinking, eyes locking. The kiss started tentative, lips brushing like testing rain, then deepened, Matteo's hand cupping Andrew's jaw, stubble rasping gentle. Heat built slow, shirt shedding to the floor, skin warm against skin in the lamplight. Andrew's fingers mapped the planes of Matteo's back, scars faint from old falls, each touch a question answered yes. They moved to the bedroom, sheets tangling, bodies learning rhythms in whispers and gasps. It was messy, real, the kind of intimacy that left marks not just on flesh but deeper, where doubts hid. Afterward, curled together, sweat cooling, Matteo murmured into Andrew's hair, "This feels right. Like I didn't know I was waiting." Andrew woke to sunlight slanting through blinds, Matteo's arm heavy across his waist, breath steady against his neck. Coffee brewed, they lingered over mugs at the kitchen table, feet hooked under chairs. "Stay today," Andrew said, half joking, but Matteo's eyes turned serious. "Wish I could. But roots wait for no man." He dressed, vest slung over shoulder, and at the door, pulled Andrew close for a kiss that tasted like promise. "Dinner tonight? My place in Selwood. I'll make carnitas." Andrew nodded, buzzing from it all, watching the van pull away, the street alive with joggers and dog leashes. Lena's call came mid-afternoon, her voice crackling with glee. "Details, Thompson. Is he the one who makes you forget the freelance blues?" Andrew laughed, pacing his living room, sunlight pooling on the rug. "Hez. Yeah. Hez got this way of making the world feel smaller, warmer." She paused, the line humming. "Just guard that heart, okay? Portland's full of transients." He brushed it off, but the word lingered, a pebble in his shoe. "Transients. Was that Matteo? The guy who talked routes but drove routes that crisscrossed states. Doubt nipped, but excitement drowned it. He spent the day designing a logo for a queer-owned bookstore in Hawthorne, lines flowing freer, colors bolder. By evening, he biked across the river, wind whipping his flannel, Selwood welcoming with its bungalows and riverside paths. Matteo's place was a converted garage apartment behind a craftsman house, plants overflowing pots on the stoop, scent of citrus and earth. Inside, it was cozy chaos, books in Spanish stacked on shelves, a guitar leaning against the wall, kitchen alive with the sizzle of pork shoulder braising slow. Mi casa es tu casa, Matteo said, apron tied loose, pulling him into a hug that smelled like coming and home. They ate on the back porch, string lights twinkling over the yard, carnitas wrapped in fresh tortillas with cilantro sharp and lime bright. Beer from a local micro brew, crisp and hoppy, loosened more stories. Matteo opened up about his family, the dad who'd worked construction until his back gave out, the siblings scattered like seeds, one in college at UCLA, another bartending in Vegas. Were tight, but distance pools, he said, eyes on the river glinting dark. Makes you chase connections that stick. Andrew shared about his own patchwork, parents divorced amicable, mom remarried to a quiet librarian, dad fishing alone in the mountains. I used to think love was like those rivers, steady, carving stone. But lately, it feels more like flash floods. Matteo reached across the table, hand covering Andrew's. Then let's make it steady. You and me. The words hung, heavy with intent, and later, in the dim of the bedroom, they sealed it skin to skin, slower this time, savoring. Mornings after became routine, Andrew's alarm at 7, Matteo's at 5, stolen hours before shifts. They explored the city like locals turned tourists, Oaks Park carousel spinning lazy, voodoo donut runs at dawn, hands linked under tables at Tin Shed Garden Cafe. Andrew sketched Matteo in repose, lines capturing the curve of his shoulder, the piece in sleep. You see me, Matteo said once, tracing the paper, voice thick. But cracks whispered. Matteo's phone buzzed late nights, silenced quick, explanations vague, work stuff. Routes changing. Andrew nodded, trusting, but the pebble grew. One evening, after a show at the Aladdin Theatre indie folk act with harmonies that tugged hearts, he came home to find Matteo on the couch, staring at a photo on his screen. An ex? Andrew asked light, but Matteo pocketed it fast. Old friend. Nothing. The air thickened, but they kissed it away, bodies erasing questions. Thanksgiving loomed, Portland's chill deepening, leaves carpeting sidewalks gold and red. Andrew hosted a small thing, Lena and her wife, a couple neighbors from the building, Matteo fitting seamless, carving turkey with a grin. To new marks, he toasted, eyes on Andrew, and the table laughed, warmth chasing the early dark. But as plates cleared, Matteo's phone lit up again, insistent. He stepped out, voice low on the porch, and Andrew caught fragments, I know, but can't right now. When he returned, smile forced, Andrew pulled him aside in the kitchen. Everything okay? Matteo nodded, too quick. Yeah, just family drama. Abulus worried about the holidays. Andrew let it slide, but sleep evaded that night, futon creaking under them. Love was building, brick by brick, but what if the foundation shifted? Days later, a delivery route took Matteo to Bend for a week, overflow, he called it. Texts came sporadic, emojis masking distance. Andrew filled time with work, a commission for a mural at a queer youth center downtown, colors vibrant against gray walls. Lena noticed the edge at their coffee meet. Hez pulling back. Maybe I'm imagining. She squeezed his hand. Talk to him. Portland rain washes clean, but hearts need words. Reunion was fire, Matteo back, van parked crooked, bursting through the door with takeout from screen door, fried chicken crisp and gravy rich. Missed you, he growled, pinning Andrew to the wall. Kisses hungry. They tumbled through the night, reclaiming space, but in the quiet after, Matteo held tighter, like anchoring against tide. Rough week, he admitted, fingers in Andrew's hair. Bosses piling on. But you. You're my reset. Andrew believed it, because belief tasted like hope, and in that apartment, with rain tapping glass, hope felt endless. Yet the buzzes persisted, shadows lengthening. One morning, Andrew glimpsed a text as Matteo showered, "We need to talk soon. Miss you." From Vlel, a woman's name. Stomach twisting, he set the phone down, water running loud. When Matteo emerged, towel low, Andrew asked casual, "Family okay?" "Always worrying," Matteo said, pulling him close. But the seed planted, doubt sprouting quiet. Winter gripped Portland, holidays twinkling in lights strung across bridges. They decorated Andrew's place, a scrappy tree from a lot in St. John's, ornaments mismatched, eggnog spiked heavy. "Our first," Matteo whispered, stringing garland, and Andrew leaned into it, heart swelling. But on Christmas Eve, as they walked the waterfront, hands gloved and linked, Matteo's phone rang. He silenced it, but Andrew saw the name, Louisa. "Ex?" he asked, voice steady as he could. Matteo hesitated, then sighed. "Sister. She's complicated." Lies layered, thin as frost. New Year's brought resolve. Fireworks burst over the river, crowd cheering from Pioneer Square, Andrew's head on Matteo's shoulder. "This year, us," Andrew said, kissing under the boom. Matteo nodded, fierce. "Us." But in the throng, as they wove home, Andrew spotted it, a silver band on Matteo's keychain, glinting wrong. A wedding ring? Panic flickered, but he shoved it down. Trust, he reminded himself. Trust builds homes. January thawed slow, routine solidifying. Matteo's food truck dream took shape, sketches over breakfast, Andrew refining logos. They volunteered at the youth center, painting that mural side by side, kids watching wide-eyed as colors bloomed, rainbows weaving through evergreens, figures holding hands bold. "You're good with them," Matteo said later, driving back, hand on Andrew's thigh. "Like you get the hiding." Andrew glanced over, city lights streaking. "Had to learn early. Small town roots, you know." But the hiding echoed back. One night, post-shift, Matteo came home late, eyes shadowed. "Bad day?" Andrew asked, rubbing his shoulders. "Yeah." Ran into someone from back home. The pause stretched. "Ex, actually. Stirred shit up." Andrew stilled. "Tell me." Matteo exhaled, sinking into the couch. "Has married now, closeted still. Wanted to reconnect." I shut it down. Relief mixed with ache. "You okay?" "Better with you." They made love then, urgent, chasing ghosts. Spring hinted green, cherry blossoms dusting Belmont. Their 6-month mark, picnic in Washington Park, roses blooming riot. Andrew gifted a leather-bound journal for Matteo's recipes, embossed with twisting vines. Matteo gave a necklace silver chain with a tiny oak pendant. "Roots," he said, clasping it. Tears pricked Andrew's eyes. "Love you." The word slipped, raw. Matteo kissed him deep. "Love you too." But love, in Portland's fickle weather, brewed storms. May unfurled in Portland like a secret kept too long, dogwoods exploding pink against the relentless green, but under the bloom, tension coiled in Andrew's gut like a spring wound tight. The necklace hung heavy around his neck now, a talisman against the whispers, but those late-night buzzes had evolved into full conversations. Matteo stepping into the bathroom, door clicked shut, voice murmuring low. "Just logistics," he'd say after, emerging with a disarming smile, but Andrew's questions piled like unchecked voicemails. He threw himself into work, the mural finished to cheers at the youth center's opening, kids finger-painting add-ons with glee, but even there, sketching rainbows felt forced, colors too bright for the gray creeping in. One evening, after a double shift hauling packages through a heatwave that turned the van into a sauna, Matteo collapsed on the futon, shirt sweat damp, pulling Andrew down with him. "Missed this," he breathed, hands roaming familiar paths, but Andrew tensed, the oak pendant cool against his chest. "Missed you too." But those calls. Louisa. She's not just family, is she? The words hung, sharp as the gin they'd shared earlier. Matteo sat up, running hands through his hair, curls wild. She's my wife. Time fractured, the room tilting, Portland's hum fading to a roar in Andrew's ears. Wife. The word tasted like ash. Matteo nodded, slow, eyes dropping to the floorboard scuffed from months of their pacing. Separated. A year now. Papers are in process, but it's messy. She's in LA, wants reconciliation for the family's sake. Andrew stood, pacing to the window, city lights blurring through unshed tears. Rain started, pattering insistent, mirroring the storm inside. You never said. All those months, roots, us and you let me. Love cracked open, spilling hurt. Matteo reached for him, but Andrew stepped back. I was scared. You're the first real thing since everything. Didn't want to lose this. This? Andrew laughed bitter, gesturing the space between. Built on half-truths. He grabbed his jacket, boots thudding down the stairs, out into the downpour without a word. Street slick, he walked aimless, Willamette bridges arching like accusations. How many signs missed? The ring on the keychain, the calls timed to shifts, the hesitations like fog hiding cliffs. Betrayal burned, hot as the summer tease, but under it, grief for the man had loved the Matteo of hikes and Henleys, Carnaters, and confessions. He ended at a bench in Tom McCall waterfront park, river churning dark, phone silent. No texts, no chase. Just rain soaking through, chilling bone deep. Dawn found him at a 24-hour diner on Sandy, eggs rubbery, coffee bitter, Lena summoned buyer for AM plea. She arrived rumpled, hugging fierce. Talk. He did, words tumbling, the reveal, the walkout, the ache like a hollowed tree. I fell hard, Len. Thought he was. She nodded, no pity, just steel. He fucked up. But you're not broken. Go home, face it. Or don't. But don't let it define you. Home was the apartment, key turning quiet. Matteo slept curled on the couch, face slack with exhaustion, vulnerability cracking Andrew's resolve. He covered him with a blanket, retreated to bed, sleep evading till noon. They talked that afternoon, kitchen table scarred from knives and knees, coffee gone cold. Matteo laid it bare, marriage young, 18, Vegas whim after high school, love fading to obligation under family pressure. Catholic guilt, you know? Abuela, T.O. everyone expecting grandkids, stability. Separation hit when Matteo admitted his truth queerness buried deep, affairs that shattered trust. Moved here to breathe. Met you, and God, Andrew, your heir. Tears tracked Matteo's cheeks, raw. Andrew listened, heart-warring pity and pain. I get hiding. But us? That wasn't fair. Matteo nodded, reaching tentative. I know. I'll fix it. Divorce fast, no strings. Andrew wanted to believe, the pull magnetic, but trust was a bridge burned. Space, he said finally. I need to think. Matteo left, duffel slung, van rumbling away. Apartment echoed empty, sketches on walls mocking, their profiles intertwined, now ghosts. Days blurred, work deadlines met mechanical, runs along the esplanade pounding pavement till lungs burned. Lena dragged him to therapy, a queer counselor in the Pearl with a voice like warm gravel. Betrayal rewires, she said, sessions unpacking layers. But healing? That's reclaiming your map. Summer scorched in, Portland's heat mirages dancing off asphalt. Andrew dove into the youth center, workshops teaching digital art, kids' eyes lighting as pixels bloomed. One boy, 14, shy with a buzz cut, shared a drawing of two hands clasped against sunset. My dad's cool with it. Yours? Andrew smiled, throat tight. Learning to be. It grounded him, these small truths, reminding love could root without chains. Texts from Matteo sporadic, miss you. Working on papers. Andrew replied sparse, walls rebuilding brick by brick. July 4th, fireworks over the river, he watched alone from his stoop, sparks blooming brief. A package arrived unbidden, a leather journal, Matteo's handwriting inside, for your stories. I'm writing mine too. Andrew thumbed pages, blank promise, and that night, drunk on cheap bourbon, he texted, coffee? Neutral ground. Coava again, table scarred from spills. Matteo looked worn, vest swapped for a polo, eyes hopeful. Hey. They talked careful, updates, divorce filed, Abuela crying but supportive in her way. Therapy too, Matteo said. Unpacking my shit. Andrew shared sessions, the youth work, the way betrayal lingered like bruise. I still love you. But scared. Matteo nodded, no push. Deserve that. Earn it? They parted with a hug, chaste, but the spark flickered. Weeks stretched tentative, walks in Laurelhurst Park, no hands, just words rebuilding. August heat peaked, and one evening, after a Brewers game at the Clackamas Fairgrounds, beer buzz loose, they kissed under stadium lights tentative, then deep. Slow, Andrew whispered, pulling back. Matteo agreed, eyes shining. Slow as you need. Full crept back, leaves turning, and with it, rhythm reformed. Matteo moved into a studio in Hawthorne, close but separate, dates intentional, cooking classes at Sir La table, where they burned paella laughing, live jazz at Jimmy Mac's, sax weaving through smoke. Intimacy returned gradual, touches lingering, nights spent exploring without rush. You're my mark, Matteo said one dawn, fingers tracing Andrew's hip. Permanent. Andrew believed, scars fading to stories. But crisis loomed, autumn winds whispering warning. A call from L.A., Matteo's ex, Louisa, in town for closure, demanding a meet. Family wants reconciliation, she texted him, CCing Matteo. He showed Andrew, face pale. Won't go. But pressure. Andrew gripped his hand. We face it. Together. The dinner was at a taqueria in St. John's, awkward under fluorescent hum, Louisa sharp-featured, eyes like Matteo's but harder, flanked by a brother glaring. Words flew Spanish-English mix accusations of abandonment, whispers of scandal. You left us for him, she spat at Matteo, nodding Andrew cold. He stood, chair scraping. For himself. That's enough. Outside, rain lashing, Matteo broke sobbing against the van. Sorry. All this mess. Andrew held him, water mixing tears. Not yours alone. Ours. They drove home silent, then talked till midnight, unraveling threads, forgiveness not for her, but them. Louisa left next day, text ceasing, but the rift scarred, reminding fragility. November chill deepened, gratitude forced her to quiet Thanksgiving just them, turkey brined slow, stories shared over pie. To healing, Andrew toasted, necklace glinting. Matteo clinked glasses. To us. Love rebuilt, stronger in cracks, like kintsugi gold-veined. Yet doubt lingered, a shadow at edges. One night, Andrew's phone buzzed unknown, Hes lying still. Ask about the apartment. Heart slamming, he confronted Matteo next morning, coffee steaming accusatory. What's this? Matteo blanched, then sighed. A friend of Louisa's. Stirring shit. The studio's mine, lease in hand. Proof shown, but trust wobbled again, crisis cresting. December wrapped Portland in frost-kissed quiet, holiday lights strung like fragile hopes across Division Street, but the anonymous text lingered in Andrew's mind like a splinter under skin, pricking at odd hours. He and Matteo pushed forward, decorating a tree in the Hawthorne studio's strings of chili peppers mingling with glass orbs, air-scented pine and cinnamon from tamales steaming on the stove. Laughter came easier during the chaos, Matteo hoisting Andrew to top the star, kisses stolen amid tinsel, but bedtime brought whispers, you believe me, right? Andrew's nod was honest, but sleep fractured, dreams of vans vanishing into fog. New Year dawned crisp, resolutions whispered over mimosas at a brunch spot in the Pearl, more honesty, deeper roots. Mateo enrolled in culinary classes at the Oregon Culinary Institute, nights spent chopping onions till eyes watered, Andrew tasting samples with exaggerated moans. Truck next spring, Mateo declared, grease splattered, passion lighting his face. Andrew designed the logo, vines twisting around a truck silhouette, colors evoking sunsets over the Hollywood hills. Their worlds mesh seamless, Andrew's freelance gig with a queer film fest, Mateo's roots weaving through festivals, stolen lunches at food carts where falafel met birria. But the splinter festered. Late January, snow blanketing the city rare and magical, Andrew shoveled the stoop when another text hit, check his email. Drafts folder. Stomach churning, he waited till Mateo showered, borrowing the laptop for a file. There, unsent emails to Louisa, can't do this. Love him, not us. Heartache, not deceit, raw drafts of goodbye. Relief washed, but anger followed. Confrontation that night, snow tapping windows, why hide? Mateo deflated, towel dropping forgotten. Habit. Years of secrets. Thought I was done. They argued fierce, words like hail, trust as currency spent, love as debt owed. Andrew stormed out, crunching snow to his bike, pedaling hard to Lena's, tears freezing cheeks. She brewed tea, listening as he unraveled. Hes trying, but the past clings. Lena nodded, wrapping a quilt. You're the anchor. Decide if Hes worth the pull. Morning brought clarity, sun glinting off Willamette ice. Back at the studio, Mateo waited, eyes red-rimmed, coffee offered peace. I'm sorry. Full access everything. No more shadows. Andrew accepted, but set boundaries, weekly check-ins with the therapist, joint sessions unpacking closets. It worked, slow thaw, Mateo deleting old accounts, Louisa blocking numbers, focus sharpening on now. February's Valentine's was intimate, no grand gestures, a home-cooked meal of oysters from the coast, aphrodisiac myth laughed off as they fed each other, wine-spilling giggles. Bed-tangled sheets, bodies rediscovering trust in murmurs and moans. You're my home, Mateo breathed, and Andrew believed, the mark deepening. Spring bloom tentative, cherry trees in full riot, their first joint trip, weekend in the Oregon coast, Cannon Beach waves crashing dramatic, Haystack Rock looming sentinel. They hiked Ecola State Park, hands linked on trails slick with mist, picnic of cheese and bread under evergreens. Remember our first hike? Andrew asked, wind whipping. Mateo grinned. Like yesterday. But better. Crisis crested in April, rain relentless, mirroring turmoil. Mateo's truck launch loomed, investors circling a pop-up at the Portland Saturday market, but Louisa arrived unannounced, suitcase in tow, eyes desperate. Family emergency. Tio sick. Come home. She cornered Mateo at his shift end, van idling curbside, Andrew arriving coincidental to witness. Words escalated, her pleas turning venom, Hes a phase. Real life waits in LA. Mateo froze, then soft, no. This is real. Andrew stepped forward, voice steady. He stays. Louisa whirled, assessing cold. You're the reason Hes lost. Pain lanced, but Andrew held ground. Hes found. She left seething, but the seed of doubt bloomed in Mateo, a late night sketching menus frantic, what if she's right? What if I drag you down? Andrew pulled him close, kitchen light harsh. We're building up. Together. Joint therapy helped, counselor guiding, betrayal cycles break with choice. They chose daily small acts, morning texts of gratitudes, date nights at the Keller Auditorium, symphonies swelling emotional. May market debut, truck gleaming, Rui's roots sign bold, Andrew's design popping. Crowd swarmed, lines for fusion tacos, elk barbacoa with wild mushroom salsa, raves online. Mateo thrived, sweat-beaded brow, serving with flair. Andrew manned the register, pride swelling as locals snapped pics. Success tasted victory, but evening close brought collapse, numbers crunched, Matteo sinking to crates. Overwhelmed. Feels like failing forward. Andrew knelt, hands on knees. Forward is winning. Summer heat returned, truck booming, weekends at farmers' markets in Beaverton and Gresham. They hired a helper, young queer kid from the youth center, expanding family. Intimacy deepened, lazy Sundays in bed, bodies lazy with love. But old ghost stirred, an investor pulled, citing personal concerns, whispers of Matteo's past leaking. Confrontation at a rooftop bar in the West End, skyline twinkling accusatory. Louisa? Andrew guessed. Matteo nodded grim. Talking to backers. Sabotage. Rage boiled, Andrew slamming his fist on rail. Enough. They drove to LA impulsive, 8 hours gripping wheel, radio humming low. Confrontation at her apartment, Echo Park, palms swaying, air thick jasmine and tension. Stop, Matteo demanded, Andrew flanking. This ends. Divorce finalizes next week. Louisa cried, makeup streaking. I loved you first. Love isn't ownership, Andrew said quiet, hand on Matteo's back. She signed papers that night, notary hasty, relief crashing like waves. Drive back dawnlit, exhaustion bonding. You fought for us, Matteo said, hand on Andrew's thigh. Always will. Portland welcomed, truck thriving, scars to stories. Fall leaves turned, harvest festivals calling. They hosted a dinner, friends gathered, Lena toasting, youth center kids drawing on napkins. Laughter filled the studio, warmth chasing chill. But healing twisted, Andrew's mom visited, eyeing Matteo cautious. It's good for you. Over pie in the kitchen, truth spilled. She hugged tight. Then hold on. Dad's call followed, gruff approval, fella sound solid. Bring him fishing. Roots extended, family weaving. Winter solstice, they exchanged vows casual under mistletoe, through storms. Love solidified, but life tested, truck vandalized one night, graffiti slurs queerbait scrawled hateful. Police report filed, community rallied crowdfunding swift. Hate bounces, Matteo said, painting over, Andrew beside. Resilience built, mark indelible. Spring 2026, anniversary hike, Forest Park trails blooming, picnic same log. 2 years, Andrew marveled. Matteo pulled a ring simple silver band, oh catched. Marry me? Not legal yet, but. Tears yes, kisses ceiling. Portland bloomed around, witness green. Yet climax brewed subtle, Matteo's health scare, chest pains mid-shift, ER visit revealing stress-induced arrhythmia. Pace yourself, docs warned. Andrew nursed, soup simmered, forcing rest. Can't lose you, he whispered bedside. Matteo gripped hand. Won't. Recovery slow, truck paused, but intimacy turned tender, care as love language. Summer festival peak, truck back roaring, but Andrew's freelance dried, clients ghosting. Market shift, he sighed. Matteo countered, partner up. Design my empire. Collaboration sparked, ideas flowing over late beers. Balance restored, yin-yang. Fall rains returned, cozying them in. One night, storm raging, power out, candles flickering. Remember the first delivery? Andrew teased. Matteo laughed. Best package ever. Love, weathered, shone brighter. Autumn deepened into a tapestry of amber and rust across Portland's neighborhoods, the Willamette swelling with runoff, mirroring the swell of hope in Andrew's chest as he and Matteo navigated the post-proposal glow. The ring, a promise etched in silver, caught light during truck shifts, drawing winks from regulars at the Saturday market who dubbed them the power couple of fusion eats. Morning started with engagement coffee coava pour-overs shared over wedding daydreams, small ceremony at the coast, friends only, no fuss, just vows whispered against crashing waves. Andrew sketched invitations, minimalist lines of intertwined oaks and rivers, while Matteo experimented with recipes, infusing queer pride flags into dessert colors, vibrant mango lime gelato swirled rainbow. But joy, in its American dream fragility, carried undercurrents. Matteo's arrhythmia lingered, pills rattling in his pocket like reminders, doctor visits punctuating weeks with EKGs and stress tests. Manageable, the cardiologist assured, a no-nonsense woman from Seattle with a clipboard full of charts, but Andrew saw the fear in Matteo's eyes during quiet drives home, hands white-knuckled on the wheel. What if it worsens? Head murmur, pulling over on Stark Street, city blurring past. Andrew would lean across, kiss his temple. Then we adapt. Like everything. It was their mantra now, born from betrayals and health scares, a quiet defiance against life's curveballs. Work wove tighter. Andrew's designs for the truck expanded to merch aprons stamped with witty slogans like "Delivered with Love," sales boosting at pop-ups in the Pearl. He took on a side gig illustrating a graphic novel about queer migrants, panels raw with border crossings and hidden loves, inspired by Matteo's LA tales. Late nights, studio lit by desk lamp, Matteo massaged his shoulders, reading drafts aloud, voice gravelly with accents. "This heals," he said once, tracing a panel of two men embracing under desert stars. "Makes the past art." Andrew nodded, pencil pausing. "And us? Our story." Thanksgiving brought family fusion, Andrew's mom and stepdad flying in from Salem, Matteo's sister from UCLA driving up with her girlfriend, a bubbly engineer named Sophia. The studio strained at seams, table extended with sawhorses, turkey alongside mole poblano simmering rich. Tension simmered too. Louisa's absence a ghost, but Abuela called via Zoom, rosary beads clicking approval. "He looks happy, mijo." "That's blessing." Toasts clinked, stories overlapped, Andrew's dad videoing from the cabin, fly rod raised salute, Sophia sharing engineering hacks for the truck. Laughter drowned doubts, pie sliced generous, but as plates cleared, Matteo's hand trembled on his fork, color draining. "Just fatigue," he waved off, but Andrew caught his eye, worry spiking. Winter gripped fierce, snow dusting bridges rare spectacle, but January thawed revelations. A letter arrived for Matteo, postmark LA, final divorce decree, stamped official, ribbon of finality. He read it silent at the kitchen table, coffee steaming untouched, then folded it careful, sliding the ring back on Andrew's finger. "Free," he whispered, but freedom tasted bittersweet, shadows of what ifs. Louisa called. Congratulated. Said she's moving to San Diego, fresh start. Andrew hugged him tight, scent of cedar cologne grounding. Ours now. Fully. Valentines echoed their first intimate, oysters shucked sloppy, laughter over spills. But health intruded, a follow-up EKG showed irregularity, meds adjusted, Matteo sidelined from heavy lifts. Truck helper stepped up, the kid now a fixture, but revenue dipped, stress mounting. "We pivot," Andrew said, brainstorming over takeout pad thai from a cart on Burnside. Catering gigs, queer events, weddings. Ideas sparked, calls made, first booking a commitment ceremony at a vineyard in the Willamette Valley, menus customized with herb-infused tacos. Spring erupted, cherry blossoms carpeting Belmont like confetti, wedding planning blooming parallel. They chose Oswald West State Park for the vows, short hike to the beach, efficient a friend from the youth center. Invite sent, RSVPs flooding, Lena as best woman, Sophia maid of honor, youth kids as ring bearers with drawings instead of flowers. Excitement buzzed, but climax brewed in May, rain lashing as Louisa appeared again uninvited, this time at the market stall, face gaunt, eyes pleading. "Heard about the wedding. Can we talk?" "For closure." Matteo tensed, ladle mid-stir, Andrew flanking instant. "Not here," Matteo said firm, but she persisted, voice cracking over the sizzle. "I messed up. Sabotaged because. Still loved you. But seeing you happy? It's killing me." Crowd milled oblivious, but words sliced. Matteo stepped out, Andrew following, rain-slicking vests. "You signed away. Let go." Louisa sobbed, "Make up rivers." Wish I could. But family. They blame you. Betrayal echoed old, but Matteo held steady. Blame me if they must. In choosing him. She left broken, but the encounter unearthed fears. What if she's right? Dragging you into drama. Andrew pulled him into the truck, door shut against downpour. Drama? This is life. Messy, real. I choose you. They kissed fierce, steam fogging windows, reaffirming. Therapy followed, joint session unpacking, closure ISNT1 talk, counselor said. Its boundaries drawn daily. Matteo emailed Louise a final, no contact, well wishes only. Block engaged, peace tentative. June wedding week sweltered, coast calling. Rehearsal dinner at a Cannon Beach tavern, clams steamed garlicky, toasts teary, Lena recounting first delivery laugh, Sophia teasing Matteo's cooking fails. Vows day dawned misty, hike single file, kids chattering ahead. Beach open dramatic, waves thundering applause, circle of friends barefoot on sand. Rings exchange simple bands matching the proposal, oak inlays. Through storms, Andrew said, voice carrying. And sun. Matteo echoed, tears salt mingling sea. Kiss sealed, cheers erupting, picnic spread, truck fare elevated, elote and salmon skewers. Honeymoon local wander, cabin in the Cascades, Andrew's dad hosting, fly fishing lessons awkward but bonding, evenings by fire with whiskey and stories. Proud of you, son, dad grunted, clapping Matteo's back. Both. Return to Portland July heat, truck catering boom, Andrew's novel deal inked small press queer focused. Life aligned, but crisis crested subtle, Matteo's checkup, doc frowning at printouts. AFib episode likely. Ablation procedure recommended. Knife to heart, Andrew gripped waiting room chair plastic hard. Success rate high, surgeon explained later, mapping heart-like terrain. Minimally invasive. Prep week tense, truck paused, friends covering, Andrew fussing meals prepped, laundry folded. Scared, Matteo admitted night before, hospital gown stark. Andrew held him, studio shadows long. Me too. But you're tough. Pallet lifter. Laughter weak, but real. Procedure day, waiting room sterile, Lena pacing beside. Hours stretched, then surgeon emerged, success. Stable rhythm. Relief crashed, hugs bruising, Matteo wheeled out groggy, thumbing Andrew's hand. Told you. Reset. Recovery summer slow, walks short on esplanade, truck sidelined, intimacy gentle massages, books read aloud. Andrew's novel progressed, chapters emailed to beta readers glowing feedback. August cooled, relaunch party at the youth center, truck parked curbside, free eats, kids painting murals extension. Community swelled, donations for center expansion, love tangible. Fall harvest, they adopted a dog from a shelter mutt named Rio, wiry terrier with boundless energy. Walks became threesome, leashes tangling like lives intertwined. Thanksgiving larger, families merged, Abuela in person frail but beaming, rosary gifted to Andrew. For protection. Pie shared, stories led generations. Winter solstice, 1 year married, vow renewal quiet, beach same spot, waves witness. Still choose, Matteo said, ring twisting. Andrew nodded. Always. But healing journey twisted, Andrew's novel launched January, reading at Powell's packed, queer icons in attendance, but reviews mixed one snarky piece calling it sentimental slop, doubt creeping. Matteo countered, your truth. Own it. Sales climbed steady, validation slow. Spring 2027, truck expansion second unit planned, Andrew's designs franchising. Life bloomed, but past echoed, Louisa wedding invite declined polite, her reply, happy for you. Truly. Closure, finally. Summer festival, Rio chasing frisbees, they danced under strings lights, bodies close. Mark on my heart, Andrew whispered. Matteo smiled. Mutual. The rhythm of their shared life in Portland had settled into a melody both haunting and harmonious by the spring of 2027, with the Willamette's cherry blossoms giving way to the vibrant chaos of the Saturday market, where Mateo's truck now anchored a row of vendors like a beacon of resilience. Andrew woke most mornings to the scent of fresh tortillas warming on the griddle, Mateo already up despite the early ache in his chest from the ablation scar, a faint line under his shirt that he traced absent-mindedly while plotting expansions. Their home had evolved too. The Hawthorne studio traded for a bungalow in Montevilla, with a yard for Rio to dig trenches and a back porch for evening gins overlooking the city's patchwork roofs. Sketches covered the fridge, Andrew's novel illustrations mingling with Mateo's menu doodles, a visual diary of survival and spark. Yet beneath the domestic hum, emotional undercurrents stirred, remnants of old wounds surfacing like driftwood on the river's edge. Andrew's book tour kicked off modest 10 cities, queer bookstores from Seattle to San Francisco, readings drawing crowds hungry for stories of love reclaimed. In Oakland, a panel on queer betrayal and redemption unearthed Mateo's shadow unbidden. A moderator probed, "How does one trust after deception?" Andrew faltered, microphone heavy, glancing at his notes scrawled with their mantra, "Adapt." "By choosing daily," he said finally, voice steady. "And forgiving the mess in us all." Applause rippled, but backstage, he texted Mateo, "Missed you tonight." Panel hit close. Reply swift, "Proud." Home waiting with tacos. Mateo thrived in absence, second truck rolling out to Beaverton markets, fusion menu evolving with seasonal forages, fiddlehead ferns in verde sauce, drawing foodie bloggers and lines snaking to Alberta. But success bred strain, a supplier hiked prices, forcing late-night crunches over spreadsheets in the kitchen, Rio's snores underscoring tense silences. Were stretched, Mateo admitted one dawn, coffee black as worry. Andrew rubbed his neck, knots like regrets. Hire help. Delegate. Advice heeded, but pride chafed Mateo, the driver turned entrepreneur wrestling control. June wedding anniversary dawned with a road trip echo of their honeymoon, Cascades cabin rented again, Dad's old spot now theirs with upgrade solar panels glinting. Fly fishing lessons advanced, lines casting graceful, but evening by the fire brought depth, the scar itches sometimes, Mateo said, shirt lifted to show the pale mark. Like remembering the knife. Andrew traced it gentle. Or the healing. Whiskey loosened tongues, confession spilling, Andrew's tour anxiety, imposter whispers after that snarky review, Mateo's fear of recurrence, heart monitor app pinging alerts. We beat it once, Andrew said, leaning foreheads. Beat it again. Portland summer pulsed alive, food cart pods thrumming with laughter, their dates reclaiming the city, kayaking on the Willamette at dusk, paddles dipping syncopated, comedy shows at Helium, bellies aching from guffaws. Intimacy flowered renewed, bodies knowing paths worn deep, but vulnerability laced it now. Mateo pausing mid-kiss to check pulse, Andrew whispering affirmations against skin. You're steady, head say, and Mateo would relax, anchors found. Crisis crested in August, heat wave baking the valley, when a storm literal and figurative hit. Truck 2 caught fire, faulty propane line during prep, flames licking vinyl wrap before extinguishers doused, but damage scorched, frame warped, menu boards ash. News spread, local paper headline, queer-owned food empire singed, gawkers snapping pics. Mateo arrived frantic, sirens wailing, Andrew racing from a design meeting, heart slamming. Everyone safe. First words, hugging the helper shaken but unhurt. Insurance calls blurred days, losses tallied $20K easy, expansion dreams singed. Nights turned raw, bungalow porch rocking chairs creaking under weight. Failed them, Mateo muttered, beer warm in hand, referring to staff, community. Andrew knelt, eyes level. Accident. Not you. But grief poured, tears hot, fists clenched, the betrayal of fate echoing Louisa's sabotage. Andrew held space, no fixes, just presence, until Mateo surfaced, voice hoarse. What now? Rebuild. Bigger. Community rallied, crowdfunding surged past goal in hours, donors from youth center, kids selling cookies, Lena organizing a benefit at her warehouse space turned pop-up. Night of, trucks 1 parked prominent, guest chefs collaborating, birria ramen hybrids, band playing covers of queer anthems. Toasts flowed, to rising, Sophia yelled, mic feedback screeching. Matteo spoke last, arm around Andrew. Fire takes, but doesn't define. You all? You're the flame. Cheers thundered, Rio barking wild, love tangible as the grill smoke. September cooled, rebuild swift insurance payout, new truck gleaming chrome, safety upgrades etched lesson. Andrew's novel sequel outlined, chapters weaving their fire story metaphor. Fall foliage tour, drive to Multnomah Falls, leaves flaming, picnic under spray mist. Marks everywhere, Andrew said, sketching the cascade. Matteo nodded. Hours glow. Winter holidays layered joy and ache, tabulous passing quiet in LA, cancer swift, funeral virtual but heart-wrench. Matteo flew down, Andrew opting space, but grief rippled return hollow-eyed, tamales made ritual silent. She knew you, he said, handing Andrew a photo faded, Abuela smiling porch side. Approved. Healing communal, posada party neighbors caroling, pinata cracked for kids, sweet spilling like blessings. New Year 2028, resolution ritual, bonfire at the coast, friends circling, paper wishes burned Matteo's for steady heart, Andrew's for words that heal. Sparks ascended, stars witness. Spring brought bloom, trucks duo thriving, Andrew's book 2 signed, tour expanded. But emotional undercurrent swelled, fertility whispers, not urgent but curious. Over brunch at Tasty and Older, mimosas bubbly, Sophia mentioned adoption her journey with girlfriend. Think about it, she asked. Matteo glanced Andrew, tentative. Maybe. Someday. Seed planted, talks tentative, surrogacy costs, adoption waits, queer parenting in Oregon progressive but daunting. Kids like us needed homes, Andrew said, youth center memories flashing. Matteo agreed, but fear laced, my heart. Can I? Therapy delved, counselor guiding, parenthood amplifies, but doesn't create stability. Sessions unearthed childhood's Matteo's LA streets dodging expectations, Andrew's Eugene Fields hiding crushes. We'd be good, Matteo concluded one drive home, hand on belly mock. Laughter eased, but resolve built. Summer peak, festival circuit, trucks at waterfront blues, stages thumping bass, crowds diverse. One night, post-set, a fan approached Andrew signing books, Your Story Saved Me. Came out last year. Tears mutual, Matteo witnessing proud. That's the mark, he whispered later, hotel bed city lights filtering. Full harvest, they fostered first a teen from the center, temporary bridge, testing waters. Jamal, 16, quiet artist with sketches sharp as Andrew's. Home awkward at first, bunk bed assembled, rules gentle but firm. Dinners tentative, but breakthroughs, shared studio time, Rio warming lap. Feels right, Jamal said one evening, pencil flying. Matteo teared, Andrew squeezing hand under table. Winter deepened, fostering permanent, papers filed, home study passed. Family, Andrew breathed, signing. But climax personal, Matteo's annual check, doc smiling clean bill, arrhythmia dormant. You did this, Andrew said, hugging fierce in exam room. Us. Spring 2028, adoption final, court date rainy, judge warm, gavel falling family. Celebration backyard, trucks catering, kids from center toasting with mocktails. Jamal, now son, hug tight. Thanks, dads. Word landed, hearts full. Summer adventures, family camping in the Ochocos, tents pitched, stars blanketing. Stories round fire, Jamal opening slow, past Foster hops. Here feels. Stuck good. Healing collective, Marks Laird. Fall back to school, routine anchoring. Andrew's third book conceived, Matteo eyeing franchise 3. Life, dramatic tapestry, wove on. By the cusp of another Portland autumn in 2028, the bungalow in Montevilla stood as a testament to endurance, its porch sagging slightly under the weight of potted herbs and Rio's ever-growing collection of chewed toys, the air inside a perpetual blend of Mateo's simmering sauces and Andrew's ink-stained sketches. Jamal had woven seamlessly into their fabric, his room a riot of comic panels and band posters, school backpack slung by the door each morning like a badge of belonging. Family dinners had become sacred, the table groaning under plates of fusion feasts, elk enchiladas with Marionberry salsa, conversations ebbing from Jamal's latest art project, a mural for the high school GSA, to Mateo's expansion dreams, a third truck eyed for Vancouver across the river. Yet the humanistic pulse of their story thrummed deepest in the quiet interstices, those stolen moments when the world's clamor receded, leaving space for reflection on paths forged through fire and flood. Andrew's third book, tentatively titled Roots in Riot, took shape in fevered drafts, chapters exploring queer kinship in crisis, drawing from Jamal's guarded smiles and Mateo's steady heartbeat. Readings at local spots like Another Read Through drew intimate crowds, questions probing, how do you heal when love betrays? Head pause, necklace glinting under stage lights, an answer with eyes on the back row where Mateo sat, Jamal doodling beside. By letting it remake you. Not despite the breaks, but through them. Mateo's empire grew organic, trucks now a fleet of 3, each with Andrew's branding vines rooting bold, catering queer pride events statewide. But success invited scrutiny. A local mag profile painted them idyllic, the gay foodie family, but comments online slithered slurs and skepticism, dredging old ghosts. One evening, post-market hall, Mateo scrolled too long, face hardening. They call us token. Andrew closed the laptop gentle. Tokens win. We live. Jamal, overhearing from the couch, piped up, screw M. My dads are legends. Laughter broke tension, but the piece lingered, a reminder of visibility's double edge. Winter holidays approached, layered with tradition, Andrew's mom hosting in Salem, tree trimming with stepdad's carols off-key, Mateo's family Zoom from scattered coasts, ebullious recipes recited like prayers. Jamal gifted handmade card sketches of them as superheroes, capes fluttering, and the boy who once hid behind hoodies now beamed, braces glinting. Love you guys, he mumbled over pie, and the room hushed, heart swelling collective. New Year's brought ritual evolution, family bonfire in the backyard, wishes burned with s'mores gooey, Jamal's for more adventures, Mateo's for health in all forms, Andrew's for stories that stick. Spring 2029 unfurled with purpose, Jamal's junior year blooming art electives and a boyfriend tentative, first date nerves coached over breakfast pancakes flipped dramatic. "Bu," Andrew advised, echoing his own fumblings. Mateo added, and text updates. Curfew means curfew. Laughter masked worry, parenting a dance of trust and tether. Their own adventures multiplied, family trip to the San Juan Islands, ferry rocking gentle, kayak slicing Salish Sea, evenings campfire tales weaving pasts into futures. Jamal opened more, foster scars shared under stars, thought ID bounce forever. You stuck. Summer heatwave tested rhythms, trucks sweltering, but community cooled, youth center expansion groundbreaking, their donation plaque gleaming. Andrew's book launch June, Powell's packed again, Q snaking aisles, Mateo and Jamal front row cheering. Reviews glowed this time, a humanistic triumph, one proclaimed, validation sweet but secondary to the notes from readers, your words mended my breaks. Mark extended, ripples wide. Crisis, inevitable companion, crested subtle in August, when Jamal came home bruised, lip split, eye swelling purple. Fight at school, he muttered, backpack dropped hard. Story unraveled slow, slur hurled in hall, shove followed, boy from GSA targeted for dating out. Rage boiled, Andrew pacing kitchen, Mateo fists clenched, but grief underlay, has just a kid. Police report filed, school meeting convened, but Jamal's shell hardened, sketches dark now shadows encroaching figures. Nights turned vigil, rocking chair creaks, Andrew holding while Mateo brewed tea chamomile soothing. Therapy family edition, counselor guiding circles, hate wounds, but response heals. Jamal vented, tears hot, why us? Mateo shared his closeted youth, fists in LA alleys, Andrew his Eugene isolations. Because we rise, Andrew said final. Action followed, rally organized at the center, Queer allies marching Pioneer Square, signs bold, love roots deep. Jamal spoke, voice cracking but clear, him not hiding. Cheers thundered, media coverage swift, slurs backlashing but solidarity surging, donations, support groups forming. Fall term started fortified, Jamal stronger, boyfriend solid, art shining brighter. Their home anchored, porch talks lengthening, Rio curled at feet. Winter solstice, 2-year foster to family mark, cake baked crooked, candles flickering, wishes whispered. To unbreakable, Matteo toasted, glasses clinking. 2029 turn page, resolutions rooted, Matteo wellness retreat in the Cascades, yoga and hikes mending body-mind, Andrew joining weekends, massages traded deep. Jamal's mural school wall, rainbows against brick, unveiling tearful. Andrew's fourth book conceived memoir graphic hybrid, their story veiled but true. Spring bloom, anniversary hike forest park echo, picnic log worn smooth. 10 years since that package, Andrew marveled, hand in Matteo's. Lifetime. Matteo kiss knuckles. And counting. Summer festivals peaked, trucks fleet at waterfront blues, Jamal helping grill, family unit seamless. One dusk, stage lights low, they dance slow, Jamal's arm around a friend's waist nearby. Full circle, Andrew whispered. Matteo nodded. Hearts marked, lives woven. Autumn winds whispered closure, Louisa letter final, postmark San Diego, words graceful, found peace. Yours inspires. Filed away, ghost banished. Holidays grand, families merged in the bungalow, tables overflowing, laughter echoing. As 2030 dawned, snow dusting bridges rare, they stood porch watching fireworks distant, Rio yipping. Jamal inside sketching new beginnings. Human, Andrew said soft, arms around Matteo. Flawed, fierce. Matteo turned, eyes oak warm. Ours. Love, dramatic arc complete, settled humanistic glow, not perfection, but presence profound, roots deep in fertile soil, branches reaching endless sky.